kids allowed on the beach? What?
It's not true!
Oh no! Oh no!
We never leave each other. Nothing separates us.
Are we there yet? You said 5 minutes. Technically, it's been more than 5 minutes.
Let's just all start slowing down. Wow, do you believe I found this online?
I guess it's not that secret a beach.
Whoa! Who would leave this? From the hotel! They're so rusted!
What's happening?
Found stuff from the hotel in the sand.
Ready or not, here we come! What happened to her, Mom?
I don't know.
What happened to her?
The body has decomposed.
How quickly can that happen?
7 years.
But she just died.
Wait, where are the kids?
Trent!
Kara!
Come here!
Hey, have you seen my children?
Mom? I'm right here.
Dad, why are you looking at me like that? What's happening to us?
My daughter just turned 6 2 weeks ago.
Mom?
Whatever's happening to us is happening very fast.
You have wrinkles. There's something wrong with this beach.
What's happening?
Mom! Mom!
I'm scared! We have to get off this beach!
People are blacking out going this way. If she makes it to the ledge, she might have a chance.
Why is she stopping? Why is she stopping? Carol, wake up! Wake up!
They have to know what this place does.
I don't know! You're lying!
Look,
What is that?
a message.
We never leave each other. Nothing separates us.
We're connected to something bigger.
Oh no. We're here for a reason.
Hello and welcome to an all-new episode of Horror Flix and Chill. I am your host, Kinte, all the way live from Los Angeles, California. And I'm so happy to be here tonight. And we have a great episode. But before we get into what we have on tap, let's introduce the co-host. I'm going to start off with the one and only Jen. How are you doing, Jen?
Great, really good. This is the third time I've seen this movie, so I've got lots more to say about it.
All right. And also joining us is Tory. How are you doing, Tory?
I'm great. How are you?
Excellent. Glad that you are here with us.
Thanks for recommending this movie, honestly, because I wouldn't have watched it if you didn't say we were watching it.
All right. And last but not least of our hosts is the one and only Joshua. How you doing, Josh?
I'm doing good, Kinte. How are you?
Excellent. And tonight we have a special guest. It is Renee. How you doing, Renee?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine.
How
No camera. No camera tonight.
Oh, I had it on. I turned it off. Hi.
Yes. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Welcome, Renee.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So let's get straight into the film. We're not going to waste any time. The film is old, and we'll go to Jen for the synopsis.
Okay, so what do we got here? The synopsis, just so you know, it does not do the movie justice. A thriller about a family on a tropical holiday who discover that the secluded beach where they are relaxing for a few hours is somehow causing them to age rapidly, reducing their entire lives into a single day. Directed by M. Night Shyamalan, and it was released July 23rd of 2021.
All right. Thank you for that. Okay, real quick, let's get into a little bit into M. Night Shyamalan, and then we'll get into the film. M. Night Shyamalan, as we all know, came on the scene with, a great film, Sixth Sense, and really quickly kind of got this the horror king, moniker. And there's the Shyamalan twist, at the end of his films, everybody expects. And then, he followed up with Unbreakable and Signs and for the most part, he was flying high. And then he made movies like The Village, Lady in the Water, and The Happening. And and his star went down, and then he did Last Airbender, and it pissed off a lot of people. And he did that movie After Earth with Will Smith and his son, which I've never seen, but I've heard it's really bad. A lot of people didn't even know that was a film that he did. And he was on a downslope, and then he made his triumphant return working with Blumhouse, and he made this movie called The Visit that did very well, that he financed himself. He followed that up with Split, which we find out, spoiler alert, at the end was a sequel to Unbreakable, and it was like the Shyamalan Renaissance. Then he followed all that hype. Everybody was excited. He was back. Then he follows it up with Glass, which was horrible. And it was like, oh, well, it was short-lived, the Shyamalan Renaissance. But then he made a series called Servant. I haven't seen, but I know you watch it, Jen, and I hear good things about it. And now he has this film, which came out this year, Old. And we're going to find out, is the Shyamalan Renaissance back or is it not? And first of all, what I thought of it overall, I thought that it was a interesting film. It kind of reminded me a little bit of the movie Thinner, except for just kind of similar, but not too similar, because it was just one person, and it went over more time and that kind of thing, but it had that kind of feel to me. The film is very interesting at times, frustrating, and also it's kind of hot and cold with me. But I'm really interested to hear from you guys what you think. So I'm gonna start off with let's start off with you, Jen. What are your overall feelings about it?
Well, I have to say that the first time that I saw this movie, I was, like I have been during a number of M. Night's movies, both happy and kind of sad by the twist at the end, which is sort of his trademark. I felt like they should have ended the movie a little bit earlier, and it would have been much better than dragging it out. But the movie itself was actually done amazing. There's a cinematographer in me, and some of the shots that they did on this beach with the all in one take were exceptionally well done. Sound editing was unbelievably good. There's a lot to technically enjoy. I mean, I really did feel that as kind of a feast for my senses. The story was it was a tiny bit contrived, but it wasn't contrived enough for me to feel like, oh, it didn't make it worth watching. It totally was worth watching. I will say that the only thing that I overall didn't like was that it felt a little like they were pushing a little bit too much of the mental illness stuff into the story itself, which I'm sure we'll get into later. But that's kind of my biggest critique. Other than that, I really enjoyed this way more than I thought I was going to. So that's my overall take.
Okay. And let's go to our guest, Renee. What about you? How did you feel overall?
It was pretty good. I think there were times it was a little slow for me. Not necessarily like when it started out, but as it progressed, I think at some points they could have either left out some of the slower parts or just added a little more something in there. But I think, you kind of know early what was going to happen without really watching the whole thing, in my opinion. So, yeah, but it was pretty good.
All right, Tory, what about you?
Okay, so my synopsis is that I think it's like Lost meets Benjamin Button. And I think it was very well, like Jen said, the cinematography and the makeup to age people is very hard to do, like in a classy, like natural way, you know, like in an organic way. So like for them to have such a killer makeup artist, I thought that was pretty cool too. It was a little slow at the end. Yeah. That's about it.
And Josh.
Wow. How do I follow up such positivity with my cynical self? I didn't get on board with this. It's the most messed up thing I've ever seen, man. And I've seen some weird stuff. This was jacked up.
I love it. All right, so let's get deeper into the weeds of the film. And I said this during our screening of the film, that at the end of the show we're going to give Yelp reviews to this resort. So everybody's going to get their opportunity to give their little review of the resort, not the film, but the resort. Okay. So, we get to the island, and, we have our main family. And of course, they're going through strife. The family is, the husband and the wife are getting divorced. But they're trying to have one last great moment before the divorce, which that always goes well, right? Let's go to a tropic. We're gonna get a divorce, and but if we go to a tropic island, the kids will totally get over the divorce, because we went to a tropical island before. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But people do it. People do it. So
I see it here all the time.
So from now on, this movie has ruined something. If I ever go to a resort and the guy that's running the resort comes to me and says, "Hey, we got this special place,"
you go opposite way.
Yeah, I'm like, F you.
Exit stage left.
F you, dude. I am not going. It could be gold everywhere. Right. And all of that. I won't know, because this movie's ruined that. I will never trust that it's something good.
Which movie was it that the kidneys got stolen? Like, that kind of reminds me of something that would happen.
It was Extreme Measures. I think they did that.
Yeah,
Tourista. In Tourista, that happened too. Yeah, be careful.
So yeah, that's really messed that up. So this is for our special people. It's like, because I would have been like, we just got here. How could we be special? We literally just got here. Like, why do you think we're so cool? I mean, well, anyway. So they herd all these people to the special place on the island, right? And right away we see that things are not what they seem. Now, one thing, when I first saw this film, I was like, these people are acting weird. Like, they're acting really strange. They're not acting like you would think, someone would act in these situations. But as I kept watching the film, I realized they're delirious. They're like, what's happening on the island is making them delirious. That's why they're not, their thought. If you notice, they don't really finish sentences. They forget really easily. And so I thought that was really good. The way that, even though it was disorienting as an audience, but if you really pay attention, it was really well done. The way that, it just was kind of strange when you first watch it, just to see how people were acting. And another thing, I got to call out M. Night Shyamalan. He's supposed to be a hip hop fan.
Mid-sized
you like the rapper name?
Mid-sized sedan.
Mid-sized sedan, yeah.
That album.
So creative.
My kid said that very same thing, and my kid said that he thought the reason that they used that was because basically they were kind of like making fun of it, and I said that's terrible. No matter how you slice that up, it's terrible. Whether you're making fun of it or not, it's terrible. Yeah, that was a horrible name. I agree.
mean, I can't even. What's worse than midsize than minivan? You know?
Maybe a Pinto or something. I don't know.
So and I love the kid. Is like bugging out. Like it's midsize sedan. I remember the first time when I first saw this, I thought she was saying there was a midsize sedan.
Out there.
And she was like, I didn't know it was a rapper named Midsize Sedan. And so Midsize Sedan is there. And let me pull up the names. I'm so sorry. Let me pull up the names of
the actors. Yeah,
the actors, because because I want to make sure I give everybody's at least the name of the character. So
Aaron Pierre.
Charles.
I thought you were talking about the guy who played Midsize Sedan.
No. Rufus Sewell, I think. How you say his name?
Sewell. Yeah, it's Sewell.
Who plays Charles in the film? Who I heard Josh goes, he's a racist.
This actor is he plays such a good bad guy. He has been in so many movies where he has played the villain, and he always brings his game. I gotta say, as a bad guy, he's really good. Yeah, no, he is very good. And he's like just a straight jerk. Outside of him just being a racist, he's just a jerk of a person. And his wife isn't any better. And then the mother, who I believe she's not the first casualty. Midsize Sedan's lady turns up. So I want to kind of get into how do you guys like the way that the story kind of settled into the island? Because I could tell both Tory and Josh hadn't seen the film yet, so you were probably like I was when I saw it initially. We'll start off with you, Tory. What did you think about how this film kind of got into before you realized what was going on the island?
I really felt the Lost thing. I'll go back to that for a second because like everything was a little weird, and there was a tropical island, and like there was a man on the cliff at one point. We don't know who he is, and like it's just things didn't add up, and I just felt like it was very losty, and then like I was kind of waiting for a mist monster to come out, the fog monster or a polar bear or something.
Smoke
like that.
monster.
Yeah, smoke monster. I'm sorry, my apologies.
Get it right.
Anyway, yeah, and then I think that her turning him dead felt like, first of all, why wasn't she eaten by a shark? Because if she was dead, she would have gotten a butt chunked. Like, it's nature. And like whenever that little kid was in the water and there was no fish, and he was like, no fish, I thought that was a little weird. Yeah, I don't know, because
the fish get old quick and they die.
Yeah, right, the fish they can't live there. Yeah.
So
it's funny you mentioned Lost, because the Asian actor who played Jaren, I believe it was his name, and his name is Ken Loang. He was on Lost. He was in the last.
He was. 6 degrees. I'm doing it.
He also was in The Sopranos in the last season. He beats up Uncle Junior in the old folks' home. So,
hey, spoilers.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. It was 20 years. It was 20 years ago. Okay.
How dare you?
But
it's really spoiled now. I mean,
yeah,
like 20 years spoiled.
Right. Hilarious. Okay, so what about you, Josh? What did you think about how the story got into it?
I thought that was probably one of the cleanest parts of the movie. Everyone's just going to the beach on vacation. It was very natural. What was happening on the beach, of course, was not like dialogue. And at one point, I wanted to say that when it comes to their casual conversation, it sounded like somebody took the American script, shot it all in Korean, and then dubbed it over. I'm not trying to insult anybody that was involved in that process, but just going back just a bit towards what's his face's wife having the seizure at the resort, and dude's like, I'm a doctor, and the guy's like, I'm a nurse.
Yeah.
It was so weird.
It was
the delivery of those lines.
The crickets should have been on there, like.
Right?
Yeah, and remember, there's a scene where the wife goes, "You should believe me because I'm a curator at a museum." I'm like,
I made a note.
I just want you to know I'm an
always
honest person. I'm a curator, right? It's like some of the most dishonest people I've ever known were curators. But that's another story. Yeah, it was. The dialogue was kind of strange. Even like even before they were on the fun part of the island. That was kind of bizarre. Yeah.
And the kids, I said it at the beginning. I don't like any of these people.
Yeah.
None of them. Especially the performances from the kids were, kid performances. They're pretty good. But just the whole, what's your name and occupation? This is my quirk.
That's weird. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little weird. What? There was a character that in Alice in Wonderland, the Mad Hatter. He asked questions like that at the tea party, I think, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that fits his character though.
I kind of disagree just a little bit. I mean, I see what you're saying, but I kind of disagree, and I think that there is that the stiltedness to what's happening actually lends itself. I know this is going to sound stupid, but it lends itself to what is really happening. Like everything is stilted, even what's happening on the beach. It's not just this isn't just a random day at the beach. These aren't just random people. These were people chosen. Everything there is sort of like lines up. And I have to say that like from the writing perspective, I kind of get where he was coming from. Maybe from the audience perspective, it doesn't translate as well, but I do really understand what it was that he was going for, I think. Also, just as kind of a side note, this movie made me look up more things on the internet than I have ever looked up for a movie ever. And I mean, like, science fiction usually makes me look up tons of stuff. I had to look up the movie for Jack Nicholson and Marlon Brando. I had to look up
what is the answer to that? Because
what's the answer?
Dying. Yeah.
It's called the Missouri Breaks. It was a Western drama back in like 76 or something. I have never seen it. It's clearly just like one of those weird things. I had to look up rust poisoning. I had to look up so much stuff. But again, what I will say about the movie, from what Josh was saying, is like I understand that if you were watching this and you didn't appreciate that, why it would come off that way. But I felt like that was the quirky nature of the kids asking those questions was actually, I found it to be something that like my kids would do. Maybe my kids are just weird. I don't know.
Yeah. No. Your kids are weird.
I'll tell them you said that. They'll probably think it's cool.
Yeah. Before I get into Renee's what she thought, I hate to do this.
Do it.
I like M. Night Shyamalan, the person, right? He seems like a cool cat if you ever seen him in interviews and such. And I actually root for him to be successful. But he can't act at all. No. And he sticks out like a sore thumb. Like it just It was hard to take him serious, especially in this part. Like, even though it was a small part, he just sticks out, and it kind of took me out of it because when I first saw him, like, hey, that's M. Night Shyamalan, and then he just doesn't seem a part of the movie, if that makes sense. It's this weirdest thing, like, you know, yeah, I don't know.
In every movie, it's always the same exact thing. Every movie.
It's like what thing doesn't fit you?
Even in even in signs at like the most critical moment, this character shows up and is supposed to deliver this exposition that is just like so stilted it feels like it's just a cardboard cutout of a man. It's so weird. Yeah.
And I like Shyamalan. Just stop. I don't know. Just be the guy in the back of the bar.
Right.
You know, like do that. You know. But hey, man, kudos, man. That was one less person you had to pay. So yeah. But anyway, I hate to do it to you, M. Night. All right. So what about you, Renee? What did you think about how everything started? You know, how it got into the.
I think when you see the naked lady, when you see her, then you know that's the movie is starting. So I thought that was, I guess, a good setup because it took you, at least you know what happened to the lady. Right. Yeah. So I thought like stuff like that with the dialogue with the kids, I was just like, okay, yeah, that's not realistic. But I like the part of the dialogue where each character stayed true to who they were, like their job or whatever. Like something they said brought them back to who that person is. So you still got them aging and, you know, getting older and dementia or whatever setting in, but they still said something about who they used to be, I guess you could say it like that. So I thought that part was good about the dialogue.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask the ladies a question, but I have to work my way up to it. Okay. So, but first, so just to keep the review going, the first kind of big thing is we find that the kids who are, what are they, age 11?
6. Oh, when they got older, they're 6 and what?
They were 6 and 11. I'm talking about when they first got there. They were
the
youngest girl was 6, and the other two were 11. Mm-hmm. And
no, the
boy was
only 6 too.
Yeah,
he's the same. He's almost the same age as the little girl.
Yes, he's like 6 3/4 or something.
No, I'm reading it. I'm kind of cheating. No, it says the little girl was 6 and they were 11, and then they aged up.
The boy was also 6.
But anyway, there was a little girl and a boy and a girl that was roughly around the same age, right? So, and then they jumped like 4 years, like really fast, and then they're about 15, 16 or something like that. And then they do this thing where the boy who's now 16 mates with the girl who's now, I guess she would be about 13, something like that.
Well, they're the same age.
And and then like literally moments after they have sex, what would you say, about 20 minutes later, she's fully pregnant. Because everything on the island moves fast because rapidly, right? I think they said every 30 minutes is what, 6 months or something like that. Or
every 20 minutes, it was about 5 months.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And so the girl has sex, and then like 20 minutes later, she's pregnant, fully pregnant, like about to give birth. So here's the question, ladies. Now, Tory and Jen, you guys carried children for 9 months, right? Yes. And Renee, not yet, right?
Right.
Okay, let's go back in time, Jen and Tory. And knowing what you know after carrying the baby for 9 months, if your man said, "Hey, look, why wait 9 months? You're pregnant, right? Like you're just pregnant. I know this island. We could just drop in. We got a baby in like about an hour, baby.
Right now.
We can forego all of that, and then we'll just airlift out, and then you just have the baby. So we can knock out like 8 months, eight and a half months. So would you guys have knowing what you guys know how rough childbirth can be and stuff? Would you land on the island, just let your stomach, and then get back up out?
So that's a version of birth. That's like water birth or like island birth. Whatever.
Like we just can't be here. We can't be here, longer than
So it's
45
a
minutes
method for women on the go.
The busy
Right.
executive. That's who they're tailoring it to.
So would you guys have, maybe not the first kid, you want to have the experience, but come on, child number 2, y'all would have done that, right?
Yeah, I would do it if I had the money to do it. Heck yeah. I mean, it's painful, and I like my bladder. I like the way my bladder used to be. So like, it would have been nice. It would have been nice.
What about you, Jen? Would you have one of the kids? We won't say which one of your kids, but if you could have just hit the fast forward button on the pregnancy thing.
No, I needed 9 months. I needed 9 months to just mentally prepare myself. No, not even. Also, it took me 9 months just to get up enough money to buy all of the stuff. And, I mean, you have no idea what the heck goes into this. It is time consuming. So no.
Wait 45 minutes and the kid is out, and then you be partying like the next day.
Another hour, and you can skip all the diapers.
Okay, but let's look at the downside. The downside is you have to have the baby, and then you basically have to get teleported off the island because.
Oh right.
You're gonna
get older.
I'm just saying, listen,
Yeah,
my kids have aged me enough. Okay, I don't need any artificial help. Thank you very much.
Oh man. What about you, Renee? I mean,
I don't think I would want to rush the process. I mean, I haven't had kids yet, so since I haven't, I want to see what it's like. But I don't know about I would be like Jen. Okay, as soon as I have it, we got to get off because we're all going to get old. Then what?
we figured that out. We figured that out already. So you're only gonna be on there long enough to to speed up the process. So okay, Josh, now you have 4 kids, right? 3 kids.
Yes.
Would you have knowing what you know as the father? I mean, would you have liked to hit that fast forward button during the pregnancy? That means you wouldn't have to do. You wouldn't have to run out in the middle of the night for cravings and
Lamaze classes.
Right.
Classes.
So would you have hit that fast forward button?
No, it was good.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Not one of them. You can tell the truth.
No, it was all. I was perfectly fine.
Okay. All right.
I'm sure you were. Sure you were.
Wow, just think how much money you can make though, if you could be like, you want 9 months? We could do it in 45 minutes.
That's a good bargain.
That's
a good
true.
bargain.
That's a good way to sell it.
Okay, my question is, and I know this hasn't been addressed yet, but let's think about this critically. Could we just take some sand from the beach, put it in our pockets, and just like have it so that we could speed up time when we needed to?
When you want to.
I've been stuck in traffic a few times when I thought, if only we could. No, I guess that doesn't work, does it?
That's an Adam Sandler movie.
Right.
Oh, what about this?
Okay, you know what,
Check
Josh?
this out.
You just
I got a movie.
immediately hate that decision. I immediately hate it now. Thank you so much, Josh. I love you.
Let me ask you this though. What if they did this? Like, say, like you're convicted of a crime, right? and they said you can do the time, let's say 15 years, right? Or we could put you on the island for the equivalent of the 15 years, and you just age, and then so you could do either or. Like you could
Well,
pick.
everybody's gonna want to do that. Like that island will be super crowded.
Right.
There's all these people there trying to get off parole. Like
Now I want to see a sequel about this.
these people are genius. Right. I would get into this. Come on.
Yeah, it's like yeah. So I mean, it only will feel like 15 minutes or whatever it is, or probably longer than that. But
the downside of that, again, is what if something happens to you? What if you have a tumor and you don't know it? And then you end up with some crazy doctor that has to cut it out with a not clean nut. Man, there are so many problems with this. No, just no.
Yeah, why didn't she get an infection? Like, I want to know. Like,
well, I guess they tried to say that they like poured alcohol on it or something.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. It's movie. It's that movie logic.
They must have
movie
forgotten
logic
to show
coming
it,
back.
Yeah.
They forgot about sepsis.
Well, it wasn't rusty at first. As time went on, it got rusty.
Oh, that's right. So if you could make wine on that island, like just drop the grapes on there.
Have you seen that episode of Rick and Morty where Morty goes like they're aging wine, like Rick is aging wine in the other universe? Yeah, it was kind of like that.
Yeah, think about it. Like you could be on the helicopter in the sky, right? And then you just drop the grapes on the island,
and then pick it back up when it's ready.
Right.
The turnover rate would be amazing.
Right.
Also, I wonder if that actually works. Like, I wonder if the logic in that actually works, because remember what they were saying about it has to be living organic cells.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I would
that
have
may
to
not
think
work.
about that. See, that's what I'm saying. This movie made me look up so much stuff on the internet. Like, I actually went down these stupid black holes of like, well, what if this and what if that? And finally, my kid was like, Mom, it was a movie. You gotta calm down.
All right. What about this? What if you're a dog breeder? Then you could be in that helicopter, drop the dog down there, have that dog kick out those babies like in a net, and you just pull it back up, and you just you can have a bunch of puppies like bam, bam, bam.
Sell for $300 a pop, and you got a little side hustle.
This is not anywhere near where I thought this review was going to go. So.
Getting a little sidetracked here, guys. So let's go back to the pregnancy for a second.
Yes, let's do it. Go ahead.
Okay. As they're laying down and we're getting these really weird close-ups of a shoulder and eyeball, I keep thinking, no. That's no. And then they cut away to everybody else, and they cut back to them, and you see a little bit of that teenage angst, crossing into an eye, and you're like, no, they're not gonna do what no way. And then someone's like, we should check on the kids, and like, no, they're, and then the kids are walking up, and it's like, oh, Jesus, they did it. Oh, my God. Basically,
as soon as she started eating the pasta, I was like, oh, my gosh, don't tell me she's pregnant by him.
What essentially happens is, and by the way, I don't recall ever hearing a word of anything about this from anybody online, even though there has been numerous uproars over other movies over the last few years.
Yeah.
You're getting what is essentially a 6-year-old knocking up another 6-year-old mentally.
Okay. You know what? I've given
teenage bodies.
Wait, I've given this a lot of thought, and I think that the reason that it makes sense is because of what the other Kappa girl, Maddox, what she says. She says that they are clearly not just aging physically. They are
Okay.
aging mentally.
That's what I
Maddox
was gonna say.
says, I see the world, or I feel with different colors. I'm thinking in different colors. And that to me is like, that is so, first of all, that is so young adult. And secondly, it also is more borne out as the mom and the dad get older, and he's like, I can't even remember, why did we want to leave this beach? So it clearly is like cognitively also aging them, not just physically. Because I think you're right, if it was physically just aging them, it would be really bad, but it's definitely not. So
Very well said.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, I was gonna bring up, I was literally thinking as this was going on, like, are they aging mentally too? Because it's a little creepy, and like then you brought it right up, and I was like, perfect. I don't have to say anything.
Well, yeah, because the boy, when he was speaking, and when he said he was 6, it was something that he said he sounded older than 6, even though he said he was 6. So that's what I was wondering, like, are they getting older fully, or just their bodies? So.
Well, I do think, though, that Trent and Maddox both would have experienced a kind of dissociation, because how weird would it be that even if you were experiencing, like, you know, puberty in 2 hours, how weird would it be to think that you were just 6 years old and then all of a sudden have all of the mental cognition and all of the physical stuff that goes along with that, and not have, I mean, how much time? I feel like there's a reason that we go through puberty kind of slow, and a lot of that has to do with, you know, your brain and all that kind of stuff. And these poor kids are just like 1 second, literally, they're one this way, and then the next second they are completely different. Like, that's got to be crazy.
Well, me and Josh, we haven't hit puberty yet.
Any day now.
All right, guys.
All right. So what did you guys think about the cave? Because, you know, the first thing you think is, okay, why don't they just double back? And do you like the way that they handled the way that you can't get off the island? You know, you kind of black out and then you end up, you know, kind of laid out. So we'll go with you, Tory. I see you making
It's a little losty again. Like, I mean, I'm serious. Like, it's a little weird. Like, okay. And then whenever he was explaining how, like, swimming all that way, and then he swam and all that stuff, like, I don't know. Like, it was like, you know, I was really waiting for sharks to attack. And then we could have, like, you know, it could have been, like, even more weird. But I don't know why I was waiting for sharks to attack. Maybe because that whole little cove thing reminded me of that movie, The Shallows, with Blake Lively. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we watched that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was creepy.
Yeah, we might have to do that one.
Yeah.
We gotta do open water too. But anyway, I think, well, the shark thing, I think, is because the shark would age too fast. So. That's why
no animal can survive, but I know that in my head. But, like, just because of the way the water was, and there was a lot of blood going on, and I don't know what was with the guy's nose bleeding. Like,
he had a blood clotting disorder.
Oh, okay, got it. So but then why didn't he bleed out whenever he cut his face?
Because he healed too fast, because that was different. Okay. He just, his physical skin healed too fast for the blood clotting order to be an issue. Yeah, we thought about that too.
You know, one of the biggest tragedies of this film is the world will not get another album from Midside Sedan. So
he had the prettiest eyes,
but his son, Lil Subaru, is definitely making a new album. So.
No, but he had the prettiest eyes. Like, he was a handsome man. Like, he was. And he just had a stupid name. Whoever his agent was needs to be fired.
Right.
Yeah, no, that was pretty dumb. Okay, so one thing about this film I have to say is I enjoyed the film, but it's a sad movie, really. It's pretty tragic. because at certain point in the film, you realize this is just not going to end well for virtually everyone. And so you're just basically watching everyone die. I'm not, ruining it. I guess I kind of am ruining it. Spoiler alert. But it's like you basically watch people go one at a time and in different ways. And it's tragic. And it really feels like there's no hope, right? You have
you can't escape death. It's always there. Like,
yeah,
the looming message of the whole movie.
You're right, and so it's kind of sad, especially when the pregnant girl. I'm so sorry, I forgot her name. When she tries to climb out and then she falls to her death, and you're like, oh.
I saw that coming though. Like the whole time she was going up the wall, I was like,
yeah, it's like,
fall. Like,
what else is going to happen? Yeah,
that's your Final Destination shit,
I feel like that was even sadder because so I've seen this movie 3 times now. So like I noticed a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't notice even the first and second time. But when they were talking, when Trent and Kara were talking, she was holding the blanket, right?
But dust was falling out, right?
And dust was falling out, yeah.
Yeah.
Like there was something so sad about that, and it made me think that then at that point that was the story telling us that she was too broken to live, and it really did make me sad. It made me really sad to think that that's what that was going to portend. Can I go back to the cave thing for 1 second?
Sure.
So we really thought about this. We've thought about this movie way too much. We really thought about this, and we thought that what was happening was whatever, because they all thought it was the rocks, right? And it does seem like maybe that had something to do with it, and that's why the coral deflected it. Okay, so when they're coming through the rocks, it is possible that what's happening is they aren't getting the forward face of the rocks. And when they go back into the cave, all of a sudden they're exposed to the full force of the rocks again. So whatever that pressure is that keeps them there, it's happening because of the rock exposure. And when you're coming in the other way, you're not being exposed to it the same way as you are when you're facing it.
Kind of like nuclear radiation a little bit.
Yeah, that same kind of principle. Yes.
Gotcha.
All right, so let me ask this question. What do you think about the way that they try to get out of it? It seemed like they pretty much gave up. It seems like at a certain point they kind of just gave up. I get it that they had attempts that failed, but do you think they gave up too fast? We'll start off with you, Renee.
That they gave up too fast? No, not necessarily. I think I don't think they gave up too fast. I think it's just more of, okay, I ran out of options. I don't know what else to do. And it's not much there. The water, the cave, the sand. It's like after, she went up the cave or whatever, the rock, and died. I mean, it's just like after a while, it's like there's nothing else there for me to try to use to try to get off. So then it's like, well, what do we do? I guess we just live here until we don't. I don't know. I couldn't think of a good way to put that. How else do you say that? But I don't know. I just thought that by the time the brother and sister figured it out, I was just like, oh man, just a little bit earlier.
I know. I know.
But I don't know. Some of it was, I don't think they were, I don't think they gave up, but I think it just wasn't enough.
And I have to say, the little kid, the Asian kid, in the beginning, that kid is a douchebag. I mean,
you mean for not saying anything?
You could have. I mean, like, wow. Why'd you give a fucking excuse my French, a fucking vague ass message that you had? It takes. Oh, my uncle doesn't like the corals. Oh, he was.
You can just tell me.
How did he know? He didn't know. He didn't know that
He
they were going to
knew.
the beach.
He
Aw,
knew.
that's mean. I don't think he knew.
That kid could have said more than a vague message. Oh, my uncle don't like the coral.
I don't think that's
He could have been like,
true.
don't get on the tram.
No, I don't think that's true. And he's only 6. Oh my God, he's a
6-year-old douchebag.
Or is he
Oh
2?
my God.
Yeah, is he 6 or
escorted
yeah,
away
how
by
old
that
was
guy with the beard. So he got
No, he was
escorted
definitely 6 because didn't they say that they were the same age?
Yeah. So
they're
he
6.
What does age mean anyway?
Yeah, he got escorted away from the guy with the beard. So wouldn't he
uncle,
has
right?
to be in on it, right? Because he was like being escorted away, like shh, don't say anything. You know, he was being shushed. I thought
Yeah.
Yeah, but then he kind of looked back like, I'm trying to tell you something, but I just can't say it.
Yeah, like the eye thing.
I mean, seriously, you're asking a first grader to save the day? Like,
Yes.
I'm sorry, but no.
He was smart enough to make a CIA level clue.
Oh my God. You gotta
Oh,
be kidding me.
I mean, yeah, he did tell him that what happened.
He made his own hieroglyphics.
He did. He had his
He
own.
was smart enough to do all that, but he
just can't say it. I mean, he could be
vague. He chose to make a
he
vague
could be a
ass
good
message.
STEM student. I mean, that's totally fine. But dude, when my kids were one of my kids when he was in first grade, he convinced everybody else that it was totally okay to wear pajamas to school because they were more protective, because it was better for the sun wouldn't get him. I mean, like, he had this whole reasoning because he was 6. Yeah. So anyway.
Okay, Josh, do you have a 6-year-old?
In my possession?
Yes.
No, my youngest
Right,
is.
you had one before.
I've had a few, yes.
Okay, if your kid gave you a code that they made up, right? And the code says, "We don't like cats" or something like that, and then you deciphered it, and then you walk into the bedroom and there's a freaking lion in there. Wouldn't you be pissed that they didn't say don't go in the room because there's lion in there?
I wouldn't say pissed, but I would be a little peeved.
Thank you. Okay, the kid was a douchebag.
It's a kitty cat.
That's sad.
Yes, it was sad. Why did he get a vague ass message? Come on.
I don't know, but all I can say
Maybe it was
I can
because
say,
if something would have happened to him if he told. Maybe that, I don't know.
Repercussions.
Use the code that
Kinte, either you need to have kids or you need to go babysit a bunch more. That's what I have to say on it.
Or
No, you know what? I would have came back just to beat the kid up.
He was big enough to do it now.
Wow.
Finally.
You know what? I can't believe I figured out your vague ass message.
Yeah, would you go back when you go back? Would you just walk up to the kid and let him touch your face, or would you
smack him,
or trip him, or something?
It took a lifetime for them to figure out how to get out of there, and generations of this family. You know, like
I do have a question. For the panel. That is, what does it really say about how Trent felt about Idrib? That was his name. The fact that it took him, I guess, the equivalent of years to even try to do the message, even though he told him, "Hey, you can, FaceTime me, and we'll go to college together, and then we'll move next door to each other and have mortgages." And as soon as the kid's out of sight, he's like, not even thinking about him. He's got this message from his supposedly best friend, and he's like,
"Oh, I hope you guys aren't serious. I hope you guys are just kidding around, because that would be really sad. That would be.
He only worked on it for one day, and then he was like,
Yeah.
There were slightly bigger things going on.
They should have put kitty handcuffs. They should have put kid handcuffs
figuring
on
out
it.
a code. It wasn't until
if it was me and
He should have
my
went to
friend
jail
gave me a
too.
message, that would have been the first thing I done.
I want to know how.
I don't know.
Going back to the beginning for a second, I want to know how the naked girl died. Like, did she just?
Oh, like what
age
was
in
it that?
water?
Yeah.
Okay,
Like,
so
what?
okay,
Did
so
drown?
no, but she did the same thing that the other guy did, right? She
Right.
because
She
remember,
swam.
right? Remember what Midsize Sedan said? God, it's gonna crack me up every time I say it. He said,
Oh yeah, she
man,
was swimming like an
Michael
Olympic swimmer.
Phelpsing it
Yeah.
out there, you know. She
Yeah.
was like, and that's the thing. She
And then all of
passed
a
out.
sudden she wasn't. Yeah.
She
That was
passed
their
out in
way
the
of
water
showing.
and she drowned.
That was their way of answering that question.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, because that is true. Because when he said to his wife, "I'll be back" or whatever, and he went in the water, I was like, "But the lady died in the water doing the same thing, so that's not going to work."
Yeah.
They didn't know that. I don't think that they knew that at that point.
At that point,
And I think that
you might be right. I can't remember.
I think he thought that he was stronger than everybody else. Like, I mean, not like, physically.
Like he would make it. He would.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like he had that kind of like, okay, I'm gonna save you guys. I can
Yeah.
definitely do this.
What, and what did he say? He was like, I was a champion swimmer back in
Yeah.
No, he was on the swim team.
He sounded like Al Bundy.
Yeah.
I scored
Reminded me
3
of-
touchdowns in Polk High.
It reminded me of the original Poseidon Adventure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think after a while they were just delusional, like the lady tying the tubes or whatever together. But I got to see my sister. But
you know, that was actually a really sad moment. That was
yeah.
I felt really bad for her right then.
Yeah. Before we get to douchebag number 2, what do you guys think about the way they got off the island, the coral? Are you guys okay with that?
I was.
Yeah.
I mean, it was weird and it was definitely contrived and it definitely was like, oh yeah, okay, here's the M. Night Shyamalan shtick, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But it worked. I mean, it didn't feel like it was inauthentic to the story. Like, there was no literal Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, I didn't expect both of them to make it just because her thing got stuck. So I just like, okay, at some point she was looking like, just leave because I'm not going to make it. That's what it seemed like to me. So I didn't expect when they showed what happened when they walked out there together that she would have made it also.
Yeah. I'm still upset about no mid-sized sedan album. But
I mean, it's funny when they said his name when the girl was like, "Oh my gosh, it's mid-sized sedan." She also had to say the rapper because I was like, what was the point of calling him that if you have to explain it?
But if you call yourself the baby and like make millions of dollars,
right?
Sedan is
it's like nothing, right? Hey, I'm the Christmas tree.
Right. Okay, so douchebag number 2. We kind of brought him up, and that has to be M. Night Shyamalan. His character, what a jerk. This guy, you know what makes it worse is he's driving them to their deaths. And he looks so happy. He's all like, oh, hey, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, we got a lot of food for you. It's like,
so just take this with you. Walk 100,000 miles and take this food. I mean, I'm just gonna drop you off right here because I would say no. You're gonna drive me to the sand. Why do I have to get out and walk? I'm on vacation.
Employee of the month.
He's so chipper. Like, oh guys, I'm gonna love
he had his flair. He was
They've done it like 72 times before.
I'm like, there was no guilt at all. He's like, and then when the guy goes, man, this is a lot of food. Like, it's probably a waste. And he's like, oh no, kids.
No, you'll be fine.
It's like, hey, oh my God. Like, how cruel. I mean, the other people are bad, but he's like right there taking them to their deaths and then watching it
and
from
smiling.
from a safe distance.
Yeah.
Right.
And, like, what an asshole. Like he's almost as bad as the leader of the pack. We're gonna get to his ass in a minute. But I'm just when I saw that, I was just like, what a jerk. Like, I mean, at least, if he was somber, like, yeah, I'm taking you guys, yeah, then I could be like, well, maybe he's conflicted. Oh, he wasn't conflicted at all. He was having a ball taking them to their deaths. Like, that when you rewatch this movie, if you ever rewatch it, just pay attention to his demeanor. He has a shitty demeanor, for what he knows he's doing. Because at first I was like, maybe he don't know he's in on. I knew there was some shit. I said, well, maybe he don't know he's in. Maybe he's not in. And then you realize he's in on it. That you're like, I mean, for sure. It's like, wow, what a jerk. Just he's probably, like you said, he's probably done it 72 times, and he's sitting there driving. He's sitting there driving like.
Yeah, but he's employee of the month. Like, come on.
Right. I mean, if you're going somewhere and somebody says, make sure did you leave your passport in your safe? I would say, why are you asking me that?
That is a funny line too. When you see it again, knowing it's a funny line because because he's all like, yeah, make sure y'all passports.
Right. We
really what they're saying is,
that would have made me uncomfortable. I would have actually asked. I would have been like
why?
With me?
It
like,
wasn't even. It wasn't for their benefit.
Country.
That shit wasn't for their benefit. It was make sure so we don't get fucked up here.
Right. So we can cover this up.
Y'all left it in the safe, right? Oh, because we want to make sure you're good.
Right. I mean, I expect at least one person to say, "Oh no, I left mine. It's in my purse. Let me go back to the room or something."
Yeah.
But, I don't know.
And the other shitty thing is that the Asian guy and the black wife, they missed the bus, and so that means this fucker was like, "Oh no, we'll make sure
no, don't worry."
Like, oh man, what a douche, for real though. But okay, so let's get to the end of the film. And what do you guys feel about the end? About how everything unraveled, and how they already had police were hiding there. Undercover there and whatnot. We'll start with you, Josh. What do you think about the ending?
Wait, police were undercover there?
Yeah, the guy was undercover.
I thought he was just on vacation.
Yeah, he was just on vacation.
Oh, I thought he was undercover.
No, he was just on vacation.
Oh, my bad. I thought they were already on to it. Okay, so I missed that one.
The whole thing for you now.
Okay, two things.
What a shitty vacation, though, by the way.
For a second there, when they were like, should we try to get out of here? They're like, yeah. But let's build a sandcastle first. That's it made me go to a place I'm glad they didn't, which was, so if they behave like children, they're going to turn back into children?
Right.
I don't know. It made me want to go build a sandcastle myself. I mean, I do live at the beach. Like, I was like, oh man, because I was watching, as I was watching the movie, I was like, okay, so like whenever you're a kid, like building sandcastles is a big deal. But when you're an adult, you can actually get all the details and stuff. So I was like, they're going to make badass
Tory,
sandcastles.
Tory, I'm sorry to say this, Tory. Tory, I have to say this. And I'm saying sorry already. If me and you was trapped on an island, we age with every 10 minutes or whatever, and I figured out the way off. And you said, you know what? Before we go, let's make I would slap the shit out of you.
Okay.
I would
wait,
legit slap.
I think you're missing a critical part. And again, I've seen this movie 3 times now, so hindsight is 20/20. All right. The thing that you're missing is 2 parts. One, they didn't know if it was going to work, and they thought that they might die. They might swim out, and they might just drown. So let's do something that makes us feel good, basically before we think we may actually be committing suicide. That's 1. 2 is they both say, Maddox and Trent both say, I wonder if when people get older, they keep that sense of feeling like a child inside of them. And like, I don't know about you guys. And again, 3rd time, I'm seeing this differently, but that felt like a very critical line. Like, that's one of those lines that wasn't just a throwaway line. It was the real kind of like, yes, you get old, but here you can still enjoy feeling like you are young inside. So that's what I got out of it.
There's certain things about me right now that will make me childlike. That will bring me back to be. Like, I will play hopscotch. I will definitely do sidewalk chalk, like no doubt. Like jump rope, maybe. You know, like I would totally do that stuff. And I'm 39. I could probably break something. You know,
Me too.
a hip or something.
Pretty much every day.
Remember, he cracked the code, the vague ass code. Douchebag number 1. So,
they don't know if it's gonna work, though. They have no idea.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
Right, but they could have died. I mean,
so they're relishing their 1 hour, right?
Yeah, we can relish. Either we can relish in safety, or we can relish in heaven. Okay, let's get the hell.
I mean, they've been there that long. You know, what's 2 more minutes?
2 more minutes, another 4 years.
I didn't have a problem with them wanting to build a sandcastle, and I had. I was just very glad that wasn't the twist.
Where it ended.
Where suddenly they're kids again. You know, it's. I didn't have a problem escaping through the coral. I think I mentioned that if you are a fan of the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game.
Oh yeah, you did that.
You know that level. And it gives you flashbacks going around the coral. But when it comes to, you know, the setup earlier of my name's such and such, and I'm a cop, and then you don't see him, but you know he's like, oh, so you're a cop, and hands him the book. It at least made sense that okay, this cop doesn't know what's going on, and they're not saying, by the way, I'm really 6 years old. No, they're taking a little bit of and I struggle to use this word, realistic approach by having him investigate all the people that have gone missing rather than, wait, these people say they're 6 years old.
That's true.
It was actually something to investigate that didn't make them sound, you know,
crazy,
nuts.
Yeah.
So I was perfectly fine with the ending, including. Because I do have absolute a detest for pharmaceutical companies, even though the big bad, I guess, is like, let's take a moment of silence to honor what's their faces from 73.
That's douchebag number 3. We'll get to douchebag number 3 in a minute.
But the ending, I'm not going to say it saved the entire viewing for me, but it was definitely, I say, a highlight as far as storytelling goes.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Renee? What did you think about how it all got wrapped up?
I think, like I said, I didn't expect the brother and sister, both of them, to make it. But in the helicopter, I like what he said when the police officer asked, "How's your aunt doing?" Since she'll be picking you up, and he's like, "Well, how would you be doing if your 6-year-old was now 50?" Or however he said it. So I think that was a realistic moment, because how would anybody be if they heard something like this and they're going to pick up their family member who's not the age they would think they are, and they're the only people left. So I think I did like that moment because it made it, kind of realistic, even though everything else was like, some things just weren't. So yeah, I did like that moment.
You have twin nephews who are 7. So if they went on a trip, 6. I'm sorry. Oh, they're
and
right.
That's what I thought about when he said that. I was like, oh, what if that would happen to my nephews?
And they come back and they're old as you.
Like, hey, auntie. I'm like, what?
They're like, hey, what's up?
Yeah. So that's why the parts with the kids and some of their dialogue, I was thinking about like my nieces and nephews that are that age, because some stuff I'm like, they don't talk like that. But other things that they said that sounded older, my nephews speak like that also. So it was kind of realistic and not at the same time. But I was like, well, they're kids, they're inquisitive. They may say stuff like, what's your occupation? I'm at the beach walking up to strangers. what do you do for a living? And then they just, okay, and they run off. So
If I had done that at that age, I'd have got smacked.
yeah, me too.
I would have got smacked.
I wouldn't have been able to run off and, speak to strangers and ask, what do you do for a living? But
I wouldn't even consider saying,
right.
Okay. So
yeah, but that part made it, at the ending, that made it better for me.
And did we get yours, Tory? What you thought? No, we didn't.
Well, so whenever the helicopter was going and they like cut out to black for a second, I thought that was the end of the movie, and I was like, oh, I don't know. It took me a minute to like, oh, okay. Whenever it came back, I was like, okay, this is not the end. I probably shouldn't go to the bathroom yet, But no, I honestly, like, I thought it was well done for him. Like, I don't know. I just thought the whole movie was okay. Like, I wasn't too impressed by it. Maybe I need to watch it again. But I just felt like, I thanked you earlier for having me watch it. But, like, it's not something that I would recommend to my friends, being like, oh, my God, you have to see this movie.
Especially if they're starting to feel old.
Yeah.
Right.
What's ironic is I started reading a book about about aging. Like, and then you're like, let's watch this movie. And I was like, that's weird. But anyway.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right, so Jen, what'd you think about how it all got wrapped up?
Okay, so I guess I get to be the person who always talks about metaphor, and I'm sure you guys must get tired of this, but I actually I thought overall, first of all, I love the sort of sarcasm on the pharmaceutical company. That was actually pretty brilliant. I thought that was good, but I also thought that the ending sort of perfectly encapsulates exactly why we are always all so afraid to get old. And it's weird because throughout the movie, we see a whole lot of, there's aging and you just sort of die because that's old age, like the mom. And then there's the aging that is clearly out of something medical. And then there's the aging that you can sort of thwart a little bit, and then there's the one with the dad losing his vision and the mom losing her hearing. All the things that we are all afraid of were all sort of manifest in this one day at the beach. And I feel like the whole movie toward the end was this remember that this isn't all of who we are, that how we treat each other and what we do, that matters. It's not just your age that matters. And ultimately on the beach, it really felt to me like they went out of their way to make sure that we understood that there was a kind of bargain between living a little bit more gracefully and not trying to escape age, meaning like you can't climb over it, you can't swim around it, and that kind of stuff, and sort of embracing it, and what that sort of dichotomy was, and how the one thing though that I'm going to say that I didn't like, and I said this in the beginning, I really hated the lines about let's not have people that are psychotic on the beach because it ruins everything else. We could have learned something about the guy with the blood clot disorder. We could have learned other. I felt like that was such a, I don't know. Like I get it, horror can definitely be this awesome metaphor extended for mental illness, and I totally am there to embrace that. But when you use it as a crutch, it felt so like jackhammered in, and I hated that. I'm not saying that I hated Rufus Sewell's character performance, because I loved it. I thought he was a great bad guy, but I hated the way that then at the end they used that as kind of like a oh yeah, everything kind of went wrong because we always seem to have a psychotic at the beach. Like, wait, what? That
yeah,
guys,
that's so
really
stereotypical. That's
Yeah,
like saying
that's
all
exactly
bipolar
it.
people
Yeah.
are crazy. Yeah.
Right. It felt so tropish and tropish in a really disrespectful way. So
Yeah.
I mean, a psychotic though.
yeah, well, that's what he said at the end when they were in the laboratory. He's like, we got to stop putting people that are
They have to
psychotic.
split them. Yeah.
Yeah.
The mental disorders in one group or something like that, and then everybody else in another. So
we have to segregate them or something.
Yeah, they weren't really sensitive to that. Yeah.
But I feel like that was true though. To how I mean, to me, that's how they would say. It seemed like, you know what I'm saying? It felt like that's what would be said. We may not like to hear that, but that's what would be said. So I felt like it was true to life,
Yeah, but it seemed like they were more sensitive to like the other parts of aging or whatever issues somebody else had. But when it came to that part, it was just like, we need to keep them separate. So they weren't as sensitive to that as I think other things.
Remember, those are assholes.
Yes, yes, you're right. You're right.
And we're about to talk about douchebag number 3, which is the ringleader of it all. What a jerk! I just can't stand people like that.
Yeah.
As you can tell, I can't stand people who smile in your face and literally are stabbing you in the back.
Yeah.
Oh, you want some drink? We got your drink. We got you the drink just like you like it.
Right.
All here for we got this wonderful place. Oh, you're gonna love it.
I would have been like, wait a minute. How do you know so much about me? I didn't fill out a questionnaire.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh my God. And then this motherfucker, I'm trying not to curse. This motherfucker literally said, "Can we have a moment of silence?" Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That would be like the person that killed somebody saying, let's like if
speaking at the funeral.
it's like if Michael Myers said, let's have a moment of silence.
Yeah,
just stabbed in the face.
For all my victims.
Right.
Like, what a jerk. Like, yeah, why did they have to go this way? Because of you.
Because of you, right?
That's talking about psychotic. I just people like that hurt me. I respect people who are just in your face assholes. Like they don't try to hide it. They don't try to be nice. They don't try to hug you. They don't, you know what I'm saying? They're like, this is who I am. People who like this guy, and then had the nerve to be pissed. How dare you escape?
Well, yeah, right. How dare you not die?
Like you assholes, you escaped from the Death Island. Like really, dude? Like, oh man,
it's almost like Scooby Doo, Oh, I got spoiled by you kids again,
and then that one doctor too, the one that like gives the he's like, yeah, we're gonna figure out how to get rid of epilepsy. Like, oh, this guy too. Oh man. What
the nurse or the doctor?
The doctor, that guy.
Oh yeah.
With the glasses.
The one thing.
What a jerk.
The one thing that I liked in the lab was I liked the fact that what we saw was them mixing up the cocktails that they were then going to serve the people who were hopping off the bus. I thought that was actually a really good touch. Like, of course, they would have to make the cocktails back there.
But also though. Okay, let's say you do it once or twice. How you gonna just keep getting away with it though? Like at some point, people are gonna be like, you know what? People who go to this one island, they don't come back.
I feel like you're saying that, and I feel like, yeah, sure, Kinte, that makes so much sense. And then I start thinking about the amount of money that must be going into this, and it makes me think, but you know what? Money does really weird things. And I have heard, we're on a podcast. Let me tell you, I have heard some podcasts about the strangest things happening. And it is always around lots and lots and lots of money. It's amazing what you can make disappear with that.
I agree. I agree with you. But if Josh was like, hey, Kinte, I'm so excited. next week me and the kids were going to Disney World, and then I never fucking hear from him again, I'm gonna think Mickey Mouse did something. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think it's
like,
kind of like Westworldy when it comes to the money and the power and the greed and all that kind of stuff. Like,
yeah. I mean, especially like your family. It's like, and you know where they went, and you have an idea. You know, it's I don't know, but I mean, hey, it's a film, so we'll let them. We'll let it off. Okay, so before we say goodbye, we really went over the time. But you know, it's I think we had a good time. We have to give our Yelp reviews for the results. So this review is not for
the movie,
not for the movie, but it's for the resort. So, so I'm gonna set the mood, right? So you go to the resort. They give you get off the plane. They give you the drink that you wanted. You didn't even know they knew that you wanted, and then they tell you that there's a special part of the island, right? You're there, and we know what happens when you're there. And as you're about to drift off, you pull out your phone and you write your Yelp review about your experience on the island. So, Tory, what would you say in your review?
I would say, you know, coming into the island, it seemed very, very gracious, and they were on top of what we wanted, and they were, you know, their customer service was impeccable, a little too impeccable. And then you go to the special part of the island. Like, how many other people know about this special part of the island? Because it's not that special, is it? If everybody knows about it, right? And then, like, I don't know. I would have been suspicious from the get-go. And now I'm aging and I can't stop. And this is my last Yelp review. So here you go,
I'll do mine, and then we'll let Renee go next.
Okay.
Okay. All right. It's 1 star only because I can't give it minus stars. This place is fucked up, y'all. Don't come here. First of all, the asshole douchebag that runs the island don't believe a word of that this fucker says. he's an asshole. And the guy that drives you to the special place, fuck him too. And that little kid with his vague messages. Yeah. Make sure he gets little baby cuffs put on his ass. This is little ass too. I hate this place. I'm almost 90 now. I can't believe I can still see enough to write. Fuck this place. All right, Renee.
Wow. How do I follow that? Yeah, I'm kind of like what Tory said. I'm skeptical from the beginning because of stuff they asked me. So I would probably give my review sooner, and I would have left and like get your money back if you already paid for this trip. Because it just sounds too suspicious for me. And then I probably would have just said some of the stuff they asked, like, you know, make sure your passport's in your safe.
No, it's in my pocket.
If I made it as far as I was on the island and got older, then I would just hope I could write something, you know, and say, don't come here, get away, don't trust anyone, help.
All right, Joshua, what's your review?
I'm going to need just another second.
All right, we'll go to Jen, then we'll come back to Josh.
Okay. Great customer service, lovely rooms. The food is healing and delicious. Staff is warm and welcoming, and it is very kid-friendly. Hint, remote parts of the island may make you feel older than you actually are, but don't worry, it'll be over soon. 5 stars for visiting the beach. 5 stars before visiting the beach. 1 star for the beach itself.
That's pretty good.
I love it. That was pretty cool. I love it. That was awesome. All right, Joshua, you ready?
Yes. All right. Upon arrival, you're treated like a king. Amenities are too good for words. They have everything to do you could possibly imagine. I took the quote-unquote special trip to the quote-unquote private hidden beach that was picked out just for me. and as many other people that could fit in the van. So I would recommend staying poolside, as I may be eligible for AARP soon. 4 stars.
Yeah, 4 stars.
I forgot to give my 2-star rating. I'm sorry.
2 stars. Yeah. You know what be messed up is like your worst enemy back home. You're like, no, you should definitely come here.
Right. I have a special place for you to go.
and go and make sure you ask them to take you to the special place.
Guys, we totally forgot to tell them in the Yelp review to bring us snorkel so they could look at the
Oh, right. There you go. That's a good one.
Oh, yes.
Oh man. Okay, so all right, so let's start off with our special guest, Renee. How can we get you in social media and all that good stuff?
Oh, wow. Hey, everybody. You can get me at a couple places. RDC Art by Design. My pencil writes is MyPensyl writes. Same on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Yeah, thank you.
All
and
right.
you are as old as you feel if you watch old.
Yes. Joshua, how can we get you social media and what should be on the lookout for?
Well, I'm just going to make this very simple. You can find everything related to me at semicorestudios.com. That's right. The website is up and running. It has all of my links to my social, and it'll even have a 24/7 radio widget playing the latest and greatest Semicore Studios podcast, including the Wadcast, this Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, where we are going to, well, just a little tease, talk about our opinions on things like gender swapping in movies and TV. So look for that this Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, over on the Wadcast Facebook page.
All right. Tory, how can we get you social media and all that good stuff?
Okay, so you can find me at Rush Tory on Instagram and Tory Rush on Facebook. You can also find me on my show, The Infectious Geek, every Friday night at 9 p.m. on, at the indieradio.org or .com. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm merging the two websites together. Yeah, and stay tuned for my YouTube channel because that's coming really soon too.
All right. And Jen, how can we get you in social media and all that good stuff?
Well, you can find me at my website at moviesandmeals.com, and you can find me on Twitter at followingbliss1. Josh, on the Wadcast, make sure that you at least touch or talk about the upcoming Wheel of Time, because gender swapping in Wheel of Time is going to be huge. I can already hear the fan base crying. So it's going to be massive. It's going to be absolutely massive.
I'll make sure to bring it up.
All right. And you can get me at Kinte F on Twitter, Kinte Ferguson on Instagram. And of course, the website is theindyradio.org. That's INDY radio.org. We'll be back. Have you picked out the film, Tory? You're on mute.
Sorry. I didn't even know that. Okay, so I think that we should watch Zombieverse. It's really cheesy and I love it.
Zombieverse. Okay, so that'll be our next one.
It's on Netflix. Yes, Zombieverse. It's about zombie beavers, and it's going to be great.
Zombie beavers?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Wow. All right. Let's do it. Yeah. Okay. With that said, happy Veterans Day, Josh. And to all the veterans out there, that'll be tomorrow. And God bless.
Thank you. Bye.